Whenever you pick up your paper or listen in to the news bulletins and you read or hear those familiar words, the Air Ministry have issued the following communique. Bear these pictures in mind. Bombing crews are about to make another of their regular visits to Germany's nerve centers. And are the centers nervy? Men and machines are tuned up to perfection. Into the fuel tanks goes not pool petrol, but honest-to-goodness aviation spirit, following a careful testing of engines and controls. And from the fusing shed comes a train of bombs, each one destined for an important military or industrial objective. Nice fresh eggs for ham and other places about to be grilled. The bomb housings snap shut as 0 hour approaches. The boys of the Blenheim Brigade make their way across the aerodrome to where the planes are lined up. Pilots, gunners and navigators settle into their places and spend a few minutes in a final checkup. Contact. The night air is split with a deep-throated roar of twin motors springing to life. The bombers wheel about and jockey into position for their takeoff into the wind. The great adventure has begun. It won't be long before the sirens are wailing and the bombs dropping in Germany, while the Nazi invasion ports along the coastline are lit up by 100 bomb flashes. In 3 minutes, we give you but a brief insight into the workings of the Bomber Command. Behind the cold official phrase, the Air Ministry have issued the following communique, lie dramatic stories of heroism told in the simple, unadorned language of these men with a mission.
Well, did you reach your target?
Yes, and bombed.
And you dropped 2 250s and 12 40s.
That's right.
Now, did you observe any results?
Well, I myself didn't, but I believe my gunner did.
And what did you see?
One burst directly on the hangar, sir.
Yes.
And the 40s exploded across the aircraft, dispersed.
How many aircraft were there?
About 7, sir.
About 7. Do you think you did any damage to them?
Yes, sir. They burst right across.
I see. Did you see any damage done
Yes,
to
sir. I
them?
gave them a burst as we went.
And you feel certain you hit them?
Yes, sir, definitely.
And you didn't see any actual flames or anything like that, but you feel quite sure that you did definite damage to the
Yes.
3 aircraft which were in the northwest quadrant. Now, I think that's all, gentlemen. Thank you much. Nothing else you can tell me. You didn't see anything on the way back?
Yeah.
Right, thank you very much. Who's...
To fight the invaders. This is one of the bombers. Far below, a German supply depot.
In 1944, aircraft factories started to produce Yak-9DD, the most long-range Soviet fighter of that time. Its fuel tanks contained so much fuel that the fighter's range increased up to 1,800 kilometers, which was twice as much as of the common Yak-9. Among the pilots, this modification was called the flying tank. In June 1944, the Soviet Yak-9 fighters were covering the Poltava Aerodrome, where the Allied bombers made landing in their shuttle raids on the enemy's facilities. The most radical modification, Yak-9U, was introduced in the end of 1944. The upgraded version, identified by the letter U, had a more powerful engine and a better aerodynamics. This enabled the aircraft to reach a speed of 670 kilometers per hour. Among other things, the Soviet Union received fighters. The first foreign aircraft entering the air battles on the Eastern Front far back in 1941 was the British Hurricane fighter. The Soviet pilots also flew the famous British Spitfire. The Red Army Air Force was also equipped with various modifications of the American P-40 fighter, the Tomahawk and Kitty Hawk. The most renowned foreign fighter in the Soviet aviation was the P-39 Air Cobra. Developing this aircraft, the American Bell Company designers applied several innovative solutions. The main peculiarity of the Air Cobra was the layout of its power unit. The engine was placed right after the pilot's cockpit. A master rod was going from the engine to the propeller. This allowed to put two large caliber machine guns and a 37mm cannon in the free front area of the fuselage. A perfect radio equipment was another advantage of this aircraft. However, Air Cobra was easy spinning but was hard to get out of the spin. Relevant recommendations to the combat pilots were provided after thorough tests at the Air Force Scientific Institute. Finally, Air Cobra became a real combat aircraft. The Soviet pilots liked it. It was easy to control and quite accessible for the pilots of medium qualification. The soon-to-be three-times hero of the Soviet Union, Alexander Pakryshkin, also flew Air Cobra. He was author of the famous air battle formula. The forced engine had direct fuel injection system. The mass use of this already met in the air fights, and that's where the stakes were put on them. Tough battles showed that in spite of all its advantages, Focke-Wulf 190 was inferior of LA-5FN. The Soviet pilots noticed that it was easier to fight against a Focke-Wulf rather than against a Messerschmitt. The Germans knew that as well. Until the very end of the war, Messerschmitt 109 remained the main Luftwaffe fighter. Works on the new aircraft started in 1942. Yak-1 was taken for the bases. Aerodynamics was significantly improved, and when the more powerful M105 engine modification appeared, the military urged production of Yak-3. Its perfection went in a traditional way: weight reduction, aerodynamics improvement, firepower enhancement. The aircraft was armed with 3 synchronized 20mm cannons.
Энская авиачасть на одном из фронтовых аэродромов. В промежутках между полетами короткий отдых. Каждый из летчиков звена капитана Кокинаки, брата-героя Советского Союза, уже открыл счет сбитым вражеским самолетом. Пользуясь передышкой, техники и мастера проверяют вооружение, тщательно готовят материальную часть, пополняют боеприпасы. Тонны бомб на взорвавшегося врага. Получен срочный приказ. Майор Щелкунов разъясняет командирам задание. боевому вылету. Вперед на врага, неустрашимые сталинские соколы! Крылатые бойцы советского народа с честью выполнили боевое задание. В сегодняшней схватке сбиты еще 7 фашистских самолетов.
Zurück von der Nachtjagd. Ritterkreuzträger Oberleutnant Köster ist am frühen Morgen gelandet. Mit seinen Männern meldet der erfolgreiche Nachtjäger das Ergebnis des Einsatzes. Während die Maschinen wieder startklar gemacht werden, begibt sich der Nachtjäger zur wohlverdienten Ruhe. Um 11 Uhr vormittags ist für ihn schon die Nacht zu Ende. Die ärztliche Betreuung ist bei den Nachtjägern besonders wichtig, unter der Höhensonne. Locker Körpers. Der Hauptfeldwebel verteilt die Post. Nach einem Spaziergang mit dem Staffelhund schmeckt das Mittagessen umso besser. Eine Partie Billard. Ein namenloser Künstler. Am frühen Nachmittag beginnt schon wieder der Dienst. Taktischer Unterricht. Unser erfolgreichster Nachtjäger, Eichenlaubträger Major Prinz zu sein Wittgenstein, besichtigt sein Geschwader. Dieser tapfere Nachtjäger starb in der Nacht vom 21. zum 22. Januar den Heldentod. Mit der ersten Dämmerung beginnt die Bereitschaft. Bei der Wetterbesprechung. Sitzbereitschaft in den Aufenthaltsräumen. Je nach Temperament vertreibt man sich diese Stunden vor dem Kampf. Feind im Anflug. Im Morgengrauen des 21. Januar landet Ritterkreuzträger Hauptmann Fellerer, der innerhalb weniger Stunden 5 Abschüsse erzielte. Allein in 2 Januarnächten vernichteten unsere Nachtjäger mehr als 99 Terrorbomber bei zum Teil ungünstigstem Abwehrwetter. Da schmeckt die Zigarre. Ein heikles Ding, so ein Mikrofon.